What up, fam? It's your boy, Slender Boy 2024, streaming to you live, taking back my channel, getting away from that asshole. Oh my goodness, yeah, so much has happened. So much has happened. I'm gonna get to the TV review. That's why you clicked on the episode. I'm doing the TV review, Breaking Bad and Weeds. Okay, the conclusion. But there are a couple things I need to address. I will try and be concise. I'll try to stay on topic, but there's a couple things I need to address. I mean, you all saw it. You all saw the other videos popping up. I don't know what the hell happened. This is worse than the Borderlands movie review. Like, I filmed. It's so sad. It's so sad because there's another. Now we have another lost episode, just like Borderlands. I filmed this amazing episode, which I can't talk about. I can't. I'm hoping I can rescue it from cyberspace. But yeah, I tried to upload it, and only to find that my channel had been taken over by that asshole Slenderman 2024. He hacked me. He hacked me somehow. Maybe he got like Russia to help him and hacked me. I don't know what happened, but he hacked me and he took down my video. It's gone. Hopefully not gone for good. But he took down my video and he starts uploading this other stuff. Like he's just like, I don't know, goofing around. He's throwing knives at trees. He threw his like hamster at the tree. Like I shouldn't laugh. That's not funny. No, it was terrible. Like he's freaking streaming animal cruelty on my channel. The last thing I need is freaking PETA on my back, you know what I mean? So like I'm hoping I don't get in trouble for that. But yeah, I don't know what his plan was. I mean, I know his views were dipping and like maybe he's jealous of my greatness and my views, but like I'm the one getting the views, genius. Like you steal my channel, but the views are still mine, So anyway, yeah, those views are mine. So congratulations, you helped get me more views. One thing I'll say, I don't want to like dwell on that terrible video he made too long because it was really, really trash. But one thing I want to mention is people. I mean, this kind of went away. This is like a popular internet meme or whatever for a while. Like when the Twilight movies were big, but like and it kind of obviously went away as all memes do. Except Hawk Ta girl, she's here to stay. She's here to stay. Hawk Tu girl, she's here to stay forever. Anyway, but yeah, no, there was that meme where it was like still a better love story than Twilight, and I'll always think of like there's one scene in particular. Yeah, my friends and I, we all watch the Twilight movies, as like a so bad they're good. Like they're funny bad in my opinion. They're fun to like make fun of, but like there's one line in I think it's the third movie, Eclipse, where like I'll never forget it because it was so funny. But like it's like they're getting ready for like the big vampire battle or something, like the evil vampires coming, and then the good vampires, they have this whole like plan to like hide Bella, to like hide her, so she's safe. And they go to her boyfriend Edward and they tell him like, Bella is, safely tucked away, here. And Edward's just like, great. He's like, that's great. That sounds great. It's just like, it's just like, your girlfriend, the love of your life, the reason this whole, freaking series exists, like Bella Swan, and he's just like, yeah, it'd be like if you like, if his cup of coffee at Starbucks was ready and like, Edward, your coffee's ready. He's like, oh, great. He's just great. So I'll always remember that he has like, so he just clearly just didn't care. But yeah, anyway, as far as like passion or like love or like love story better than Twilight. No, Slenderman and that hamster that he threw and like he's that Gigi, he's like trying to bring it back with like hamster CPR with the two fingers and he's like Gigi, he's like screaming like that was more affection. That was a better love story than Twilight. That was more affection than Edward ever showed for his eventual wife Bella Swan. I'm sorry. Anyway, I don't want to dwell on that too long. I just had to say something. But yeah, anyway, getting back to the TV review. Let's do it. Let's get to the TV review. Oh, actually, I need to go off topic one more time. I wanted to. So I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot, chat. I forgot to. I started telling a story in my ex-wife video, and I didn't finish it. I didn't explain the inside joke. I was like, oh, like there's this funny inside joke with me and Natalie, and then I didn't really finish it. So I told you this story. Like I told you about the episode of Game of Thrones where she strips down and then like the guy's gay, so it's not really working. And then I had that like joke where I was like, he sees like the Matrix, or like the ones and zeros fly over his eyes, and he's just like updating the firmware, But so it became an inside joke with me and her where we would be at like a party, or something, like an event, and she would wear, you saw the picture last time, she would wear these, really eye-catching dresses, these really, jaw-dropping outfits, and we would always, like, it was without fail, like we would always catch at least one guy, usually more, usually like two or three guys, checking her out, like caught, we'd catch them, like, checking her out from across the room, or whatever. And I wouldn't even say anything. I wouldn't use any words. But I would like, go up to her and I'd whisper in her ear. I'd be like, updating the firmware. Like, all I had to do was make that sound, and she would just have like giggle fits like the entire rest of the night. She would just lose it. She would just lose it. She like it was just so funny. I mean, it's like one of those inside jokes where maybe it's not that funny saying out loud to other people, but like, between the two of you, it's like the funniest freaking. You just like think about it and you just start giggling and laughing your ass off. Anyway, so yeah, I had to explain that one. Anyway, sorry. But yeah. So here we go. I rewatched. I don't typically rewatch episodes that I make. I just kind of like make them and then, like, boom, on to the next project. But like that, the last video I did with the TV reviews, that's like a new thing I'm starting, and like I wanted to rewatch that. I want to kind of like take notes and just kind of like like is this? I think this is a good series I'm doing. I think this is like a worthy project that I'm taking on. But just kind of go over what I said so I don't repeat myself too much. But yeah, I previously reviewed the two pilots of those two shows and compare and contrast. And obviously I liked Weeds better, and a lot of people didn't like that, and a lot of people said I was like kind of favoring Weeds and biased towards Weeds, and I'm like, bro, it's like, how can I be biased? Like, I told you I hadn't watched either show. Like, both of those were like the first time I was watching them. And then like someone else brought something else up in the chat, and I want to so like there's a term called recency bias, right? So like recency bias, long story short, it's like if you just saw Deadpool 3 and you're like, oh my god, Deadpool 3 is like the best out of the three, like it's so great, and honestly I kind of feel that way, but like anyway, but the idea is like, okay, that's recency bias, like you feel that way because it's so fresh in your mind, like you just watched Deadpool 3. Well, think back to Deadpool 2 or Deadpool 1. Didn't those have their moments as well? The only way to be fair is to like truly like watch all three in a row back to back and really compare and contrast, like kind of like what I'm doing with Weeds and Breaking Bad. But yeah, so like, but people were brought up like, oh well, maybe like you watched like Weeds sooner, or more recently when you made the video, and like that's why it was like so fresh. Like, you got so many more details right. Like you were so much more detailed with your Weeds review, blah blah blah. And I'm like, no, listen, bro. I watched Weeds in the morning, and then I watched Breaking Bad in the afternoon, and I filmed the video in the afternoon. Like I filmed it, like no joke, like 5 minutes after finishing that Breaking Bad episode. That Breaking Bad episode was like a full hour. It took all afternoon, man. So if I was that had recency bias working for it, and I still didn't like it. If anything, like I should have liked Breaking Bad better, but I didn't. Despite the recency bias or lack thereof. Another thing I'll say real quick is, again, like people were kind of saying like, oh, like you're just, whatever, like you're just intentionally like whatever, like you're saying an opinion that'll get views or blah blah blah, and I'm like, no, okay. First of all, I'm always 100% real with my opinion, guys. You know that. But second of all, if you really think about it, and I was thinking about this today, I want to make this point. If you're really thinking about it, if I was smart, right? I'm kind of doing the opposite thing of what a smart person would do. You know what I mean? Where it's like a smart person would be like, hey, I don't want to piss off the Breaking Bad fans, so I'll just say it's like the best pilot ever made, blah, blah, blah. And then if I, shit on Weeds a little bit, like, yeah, I'll piss off the Weeds fans, all 5 of them. All 5 of them. That's the other thing. It's like people talk about how like I was so hard on Breaking Bad. I was so like kind to Weeds. It's like, go back and I rewatched it. Go back and rewatch my video chat. I said positive things about both shows. I gave both shows shit. I criticized Weeds as well. I said things I didn't like about Weeds as well. But at the end of the day, I liked Weeds better. Okay. But I was pretty fair. I talked about both pretty equally. Maybe I talked about Weeds a little bit more, and maybe I talked about it like a little more positively. But that's because I liked it. That's how opinions work. That's how opinions work. Like, yeah, I liked it better. If I made a video talking about Star Wars and I don't know, Sesame Street, and I talked about Star Wars more, it's like, yeah, no shit. I'm a Star Wars fan. And I guess now I'm a Weeds fan. So yeah, no shit. Yeah, I liked one better, and I talked about one more. Sorry. Anyway. But yeah, and I think the comparisons I made were pretty fair. In fact, let me go further into that. I'm paraphrasing, but I recently found a couple of quotes on Reddit. It's so interesting. This happened kind of like after both shows wrapped up, but like there's a couple quotes that you seriously look this up. His name is Vince Gilligan, like Gilligan's Island. Yeah, Vince Gilligan, the creator of Breaking Bad. He said a couple things about this. I don't know if the creator of Weeds. I couldn't really find a quote from the creator of Weeds, like about the other show. But yeah, the creator of Breaking Bad definitely addressed some of these like comparisons, and he straight up said he was like, holy, he was like, first of all, everyone who made Breaking Bad claims to have not known about Weeds at the time. I think that's cap. I think that's total cap. I mean, there's no way to prove that, but it's like Weeds had been around for 3 years and it was like already blowing up on TV. So like I find it very hard to believe that nobody making Breaking Bad had even heard of Weeds. But that's the story. That's the narrative they're going with. Vince Gilligan is like, oh, I hadn't even heard of Weeds until like 2 weeks into making Breaking Bad, into filming Breaking Bad. But there's a quote where he's like, "Oh, as soon as I heard about Breaking Bad, like excuse me, as soon as I heard the concept for Weeds, like the blood drain from," he said that the creator of Breaking Bad said, "As soon as I heard about Weeds and like what the premise was, like the blood started to drain from my face, the color like drained from my face," and I was like, "Oh shit," See, he's totally corroborating that, or like fessing up, so to speak. He's like, "Oh yeah, no, like they are similar. Like holy shit, like I seriously," he's basically kind of like, not only responding, but kind of like, covering his ass. He's like, oh, no, like, I didn't even know about the show. Like, seriously, I know they're similar. But like, I didn't even know about the show, So anyway, but there's another great quote from him where he said that, he literally said that Breaking Bad wouldn't exist if he had known about Weeds. He was like, yeah, no, if when I was like pitching Breaking Bad in those room meetings, if I knew about Weeds or if somebody told me about Weeds, I would have done a different show, or I would have done a different premise, because I would have been like, oh shit, like all the good ideas that's it, all the good ideas are taken, can't do this now. Didn't stop you from continuing to make the show after you found out about Weeds, though, right? After you had like this moneymaker, you kept on going for like another 5 seasons anyway. But yeah, anyway, I found that interesting. I'm not trying to hate. I'm not trying to hate too much on Breaking Bad. No, real talk. Like again, like I'm doing the stupid thing. I'm making friends with, I'm not pissing off the 5 Weeds fans. I'm making friends. I'm making my camp. I'm making my bed. I'm gonna get up and stretch my legs. I'm making my bed with the Weeds fans, all 5 of them. They're not going to have my back. No, and I'm making enemies with the Breaking Bad fans. Millions and millions of them. They all seem like very angry, hostile people. They all seem like Walter White. They all have like their Erlenmeyer flasks at the ready, filled with like acid to throw in my face. They're gonna throw acid in my face, chat. I'm gonna be your boy won't be so handsome after that. Oh, Lizzie won't want me anymore after that. Oh no. Anyway, but yeah, so. I don't know how often I'll do these. I'll kind of like do these videos at like different landmarks in both shows, but like, yeah, I finished the pilots of both. Actually, let me let me backtrack one more time, because like I was so remiss. Because I should have mentioned this in both pilots. Another little like neat little crossover or little similarity. Both pilots have a very similar scene. So basically, Walter's son, he's disabled, he's learning, handicapped or learning disabled or whatever. He's in like the store trying on jeans, and there's these like high school boys like kind of making fun of him, and Walter has to stand up for, kind of like intimidates them, beats the shit out of them, that type of thing. And then it in a kind of a similar way in the pilot of Weeds, Nancy has this son who he's not like disabled per se, but it's kind of implied that he's like, maybe he's in the special ed class or has some sort of learning disability. But anyway, like a kid's giving him a hard time, and Nancy has to kind of defend her son. And the way she does it, honestly, I mean, both scenes were great, but I really did. Again, I'm on the side of Weeds. I'm siding with Weeds. The way she does it, because they're playing soccer, and like the other kid is like kind of chasing her son on the field, and Nancy's like on this lawn chair watching the game. And all she does is she just kind of like, subtly sticks out her foot and trips the kid. By the way, in this situation, the bully is actually crippled. He has a broken arm and a cast, believe it or not. So he's chasing, Nancy's son, and Nancy trips the crippled boy. So if you want to give like points for like, who the worst person is, no, Nancy literally tripped a crippled little boy. So, that's not cool. But yeah, no, she gets points for that. And then like with Walter, like that's kind of an issue I have with Breaking Bad. I mean, again, it's like one of those. I just try not to think too hard about it, but I get where I get it, where it's like, you know, Walter has these badass moments and he gets like fired up, but it's like, I don't know, how do I put it? Like in shows and movies, sometimes like, because you know he knows he has cancer and he just I don't know, you know, he has the power of rage, he has the power of like, I don't give a fuck anymore, you know, that type of thing. But like realistically, he's still, you know, I know he's mad and I know he has like the power of I don't give a fuck, but like he's a middle-aged man. He's a middle-aged chemistry teacher, an out-of-shape chemistry teacher who has lung cancer, who has trouble breathing. Do you really think this guy could have taken on those three high school boys that were kind of in their prime? Like, he had like the intimidation factor. I think that's really what it was. He's like, yo, come on, take your shot, come on, you're only gonna get one shot, you know. And then I think all three of them kind of got spooked and they like ran off. But like, if they were all like kind of thinking about it, like they were gonna like totally destroy him, you know, if they like actually fought. I mean, it's 1-on-3, and any one of those kids could probably have taken Walt, you know what I mean? And like Walter, who's his backup? He's Skyler, his son on crutches, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, like, you know, he got kind of lucky there, in my opinion. Anyway, but that's just the pilots. This is the two pilots. So as far as the pilots, yeah, again, I preferred Weeds. I have finished both season 1s of both shows, so that's the next benchmark. So that's where I'm going to compare again. This is where it gets interesting, and this is where I kind of poorly planned this out. This will get better in future seasons. I looked ahead. Again, both shows, it's weird. They have these odd similarities, but both shows, they kind of even out in later seasons. Like, I think it's like Weeds will eventually be like 12 episodes per season, and Breaking Bad is like 13 episodes per season, so about the same. But with this one, Weeds was shorter than normal. It was 10 episodes, so 10 episodes long. And then Breaking Bad, it was like really short. I don't know just only the first season, but I guess I don't know what was going on, but only the first season, 7 episodes. So already I have like 3 more episodes of Weeds, you know, in this season. So like, if you want to like kind of argue that that's like a bias somehow, like sure, there you go. I watched more Weeds than Breaking Bad for this video, but like again, I watched both season 1s of both shows. It's not my fault Breaking Bad kind of cut off at 7 episodes for some reason. Like, it was really weird. I don't know if it was like a broadcasting scheduling issue or you know, maybe it started in the middle of a season or something. I don't know. A TV season, I mean. But anyway. Yeah, don't worry. That's just a Domino's car going by. Yeah, I'm just kind of walking through this park, you know, late at night, talking about 2 shows that are several decades old. What am I doing with my life? Anyway. But yeah, once again, I mean, it in a weird way, it did kind of even out, because, I mean, it was weird that, like, you know, I watched episode 7 of both, and then I still had 3 more episodes of Weeds, and it's like, all right, whatever, you know. But each episode of Breaking Bad is twice as long. Each episode of Breaking Bad is like, well, the pilot is exactly 60 minutes. Breaking Bad, after that, each episode's 50 minutes long. It's still too long, in my opinion. I think it's still too long, but Weeds is like a perfect 30 minutes. Like, I will stand by that. I said that in the pilot video. I stand by it now. Yes, I do still prefer season 1 of Weeds. I will say that Breaking Bad gets better. Well, we talked about my 3-episode rule, right? Honestly, like Breaking Bad, I mean, I'm gonna get so much flack. I'm gonna get the acid in the face. I know I am, but like, I gotta give you my opinion, chat. I gotta give you my honest opinion. Breaking Bad, I want to coin a new term. Jesse was so worried about Walter Breaking Bad. I'm worried about the show Breaking Mid. Breaking Mid. Yeah, again, my 3-episode rule, I would not have continued this show. Like, I didn't like the pilot. I definitely wouldn't have continued the show after 3 episodes. I'm starting to like the show now as of episode 7, which is not good. But yeah, no, episode 6 and 7 definitely got a lot better. We have this like really ruthless, crazy, you know, villain named Tuco. He shows up. He's this like meth dealer that Walter, you know, starts working with in order to sell, you know, he's already like making the meth and he's making money. But here's the problem, like Walter, I'm already seeing it. He's a really greedy guy. He really is. I mean, I know he has his reasons. He needs to save up money for his family. I know. But even Jesse is kind of calling him out already. He's like, yeah, we were making good money. just selling to our normal people. He's like, no, we have to find a distributor, And Jesse's like, well, these are really dangerous. Like, we really don't. It's hard to get in contact with these like higher up people, and you really don't want to. You really don't want these people to even know you exist, But Walter insists, and so now they are involved with this total psychopath named Tuco, who likes to put cigarette butts out on his tongue. No, Tuco's great. Tuco's a great villain. We're like just starting to see like this dynamic of him versus Walter, and it's like, one of my favorite moments is like another joke I'll make is like Breaking Bad. They should call it Breaking Balls. Breaking Balls. Like the whole show is Jesse and Walter taking shots at each other. I love their dynamic. That's the one thing I do love. I agree with the fans. I do love their dynamic. I love how they just like take shots at each other. But when they're first meeting Tuco at the junkyard, Jesse, he's giving him so much shit. He's giving Walter so much shit. He's like, why did you pick this place? Like, what, you thought it looked cool in a movie once? Like, let's just meet at the mall. I could be sipping an Orange Julius while we do our business, And then even Tuco, when Tuco shows up, he's like, why are we meeting here? Like, what was the mall closed? It's just like Walter gives them all a dirty look. I love it. No, I love it. I'm starting to love it at the end of the season, which is a shame because I kind of needed that energy earlier on in the show. Oh, yeah, I don't know. Skyler, I don't know about Skyler. Let me say this. I know I've only been on, like, the Breaking Bad subreddit for a few minutes, but, like, I can tell everyone hates Skyler. Everyone just, like, hates her so much. It's like Felicity on Arrow. Like, everyone just hates her. Like, holy shit, what did this woman do? I don't really like her that much either. She has, like, a really weird face. She's kind of annoying. Like, I said that in the pilot. I definitely feel that way now. She does have one of my favorite moments. Like my favorite, honestly, the funniest moment, the moment that got the most laughs out of me, was when she first confronts Jesse at his house, and she tries to talk like him, and it's really funny. Like she's just like, "Who am I, yo? Well, I'm his wife, yo, and I'm here, yo." Like it was great. I don't know. Another thing I have to mention real quick is like with Jesse. I think it's safe to say he's like the most popular character. Like everyone really likes Jesse. And I even read a thing about how, back in the day, again, Breaking Bad, they weren't sure if it would like do well, if they get multiple seasons. So at one point, like, and they had no way of knowing how Aaron Paul's character would like explode in popularity. So they really didn't know, there's no way to know. There's no way to know which character will be a fan favorite. I mean, you can guess, but yeah, Jesse was kind of a surprise to them because they said like, oh yeah, we were going to kill him off by like the end of season 1. And you kind of see that. You see that exact moment because you remember when Tuco just starts beating the shit out of him and it puts him in the hospital, and it's like, yeah, I mean, Tuco, he probably would have, like, realistically, he probably would have killed him there. Like, there's no reason for him to not have killed him there. It's just, he didn't need him, alive. So, like, but, like, it's a show, and Jesse's a popular character, so, like, he's not gonna, die or anything. But no, like I get it. But things like that always interest me, like things that could have happened or should have happened or would have happened, etc. But all that behind the scenes stuff is really interesting to me. But anyway, but Skyler, yeah, I don't know. Like she's just. And another one of my favorite lines is like she's giving Walter a hard time, and he says something like, "All right, Sky, I'm gonna need you to crawl right out of my ass. All right, you're in my ass. I need you to crawl right out of my ass. Okay, I need you to do that for me, honey. Can you do that for me?" And she's just speechless. She has nothing to say. I don't like her weird face. I'm sorry, I don't. And and another thing I don't like. I know people said something about or like people like were like just wait, because I was complaining about the Walter White in his underwear thing in the pilot, and people were like, you just wait, no, I've seen this man naked many times now. I've seen his ass too many times for my liking. I've seen him having sex with Skyler, and that's the other thing I forgot Skyler was pregnant in the pilot. Like I completely forgot that somehow that she was pregnant, and the reason I forgot is like the last scene, if you remember, is just him. Walter, he comes home and he's all jazzed because he did something gangsta, and he's like whatever, reclaiming his youth, reclaiming his manhood, whatever, and he just like turns her around and he just like bangs the hell out of her. It's just like, no wonder I forgot, like, she's supposed to be pregnant, like he's really he's not really being careful anyway. But Yeah, I don't like all the ass. I don't like all the man ass. I still haven't seen Nancy's ass. I've seen Walter's ass at least twice now. But anyway. Oh, what else? What else? Okay. At first, I liked Skylar's sister Marie, and then his Hank's or Walter's brother-in-law Hank is a DEA agent. That's interesting. You know, that's definitely going to come into play later. Again, season one is just kind of setting up a lot of stuff, so like there's not a lot like really exciting stuff happening, but I can see like things that are going to eventually Walter and Hank are going to have like a big head-to-head. I'm looking forward to that. But like, yeah. Anyway, Hank, I don't know. So far, he's just kind of, he's, I don't know. I don't know how people feel about Hank. He kind of comes across as kind of like a dumb, oafy, like kind of like too macho for his own good. Like I don't know. I'm not hugely for him or against him yet. His wife Marie, I thought at first I like kind of liked her. I thought she was like kind of cute. Believe it or not. But then we start doing this thing where she's like shoplifting, she's like stealing shoes, and then comes back later because she's like stole some jewelry, and Skylar basically gets arrested or is going to get arrested because she tries to return the stolen jewelry. And like that was stupid because the way she got out of it was like, oh, I'm pregnant. Oh, I'm conveniently going into labor. And you had to like hear her make these like really disturbing like birthing sounds, and like, oh, and combine that with her like weird like alien face. Like that's like an image I never. Someone make a gif of that and send it to people you don't like. Like I wish I could unsee that. That's worse than Walter. Like show me Walter's ass again. I would rather look at Walter's ass than Skylar doing like the birthing sounds and anyway. But yeah, Marie's shoplifting, I don't know what we're doing with that. I hope that is like the last I see of it, but we haven't wrapped that up, so I'm guessing that goes into season 2. Oh, people in the chat are saying they're like, strap yourself in. What do you mean strap? They're saying like, no, it goes on forever, buddy. It goes on forever. It goes into season 4. Season 4? It goes into season 4? No, it doesn't. Oh, it does. You're lying to me, chat. Season 4? Season 4? No. But yeah, and everyone's like kind of dunking on me because I think Marie's cute. They're like, oh, you're just desperate. Your boy's just desperate. Your boy's desperate and horny. Well, I mean, what? I mean, Ralph agrees. Ralphie C, he's giving me the eggplant emoji. Okay, he wants to give Marie the eggplant emoji. I get it. Ralph, that doesn't really mean much because you want to give that eggplant to every woman, like alive. So, probably even Skylar. Ralph says, no, not Skylar. Even Ralph's like, no, not Skylar. he saw that clip. He saw that birthing clip. He's like, oh, no. Nope, sorry, lady. And another thing with Jesse. So, again, my friends all watched the show when it was like blowing up, and like they told me. So I know I know a few things just because of pop culture, but like the way people talk about Jesse, like again, it was inescapable. I forget what year, but like whatever year Breaking Bad was at like the highest, like the peak of its popularity. It was like the Borat voice where you couldn't get away from that voice. Everyone was doing the Jesse Pinkman. Everyone was like, bitch. Can you give me some coffee, bitch? How are you doing, bitch? Bitch. They make it, the fans make it sound like it's every other word out of his mouth, and like he really doesn't say it that much. Like at least in season, I'm sure maybe in later seasons because that phrase got so popular, he like the writers like kind of lean into it more. But like in season 1, he really, like the only thing I can think of off the top of my head is like when they're in the basement and they're having like his real estate agents like having the open house, and he's like trying to get people out of the house, and like people want to go in the basement where Walter's cooking, and Jesse's just like, you can't go down here, bitch. You can't see the basement, bitch. That's it. Again, and my favorite, like I said, my favorite usage of the word bitch is when Skylar does her impression of Jesse. Like I thought that was way funnier. Like that stuck with me a lot more. But that's just me. But oh man, and like I didn't like. I'm sorry. I know I keep dunking on this. I didn't like There was the episode where Walter has like the barbecue with his family, and that scene goes on way too long. Like it was important because that's when he tells everyone he has cancer, but that went way too long. It was so boring, and like he tells like the worst. He tells like the How I Met Your Mother story, and it's like the worst story. It's like I'm sorry, it's like the worst story ever. He just like keeps going. He's just like, yeah. So I don't know if you knew this, Walt Jr., but like, I worked at this plant and it was near this diner, and your mother was a waitress at the diner, and I would go there and I'd eat lunch, and she worked there, and we both I would get my grilled cheese and she liked to eat grilled cheese, and she would eat some of my grilled cheese, and like we both did the crossword puzzle. I'd help her solve the crossword puzzle, and then boom, we're married. It's just like, and then Skylar, she starts crying. She just starts crying, and I'm like, and I was like riffing at that point. I was like, yeah, I know Sky. That was like the worst story ever. I'm crying too. Like I know it was terrible. You don't need to cry. It wasn't that bad, Sky. Oh, oh my lord. Oh, yeah. How I Met Your Mother. I mean, they made 9 seasons of that other show with that story. So let's spend 9 seasons on Walter's grilled cheese and crossword puzzle meetup. Anyway. Oh my lord. What else? What else? Yeah, I mean, Walter. He's it's weird because it's like, and my I was talking to a friend of mine. I won't give her identity away, but she's like me. She actually prefers. I didn't realize people are starting to come out of the woodwork. I think I'm making this opinion like safe to have again on the internet, because like I had one friend that came out of the woodwork recently, and she kind of told me, she's like, oh yeah, like I only watched like 3 episodes. 3 episode rule. I watched 3 episodes of Breaking Bad. I didn't like it. See, Weeds, she stuck with Weeds for 3 seasons, so I guess she liked that a lot more. Yeah, I'm probably gonna do the same. I'll probably stick with it for 3 seasons anyway. But she was like, yeah, Walter, he's just like kind of unlikable. He's just kind of like bad from the beginning, and it's hard to root for him because he's kind of a bad guy. And then she's like, oh yeah, Nancy's terrible too, but I like her. Celia's bad too, but I like her. And it's true. It's like that's how I would describe these characters. It's like, on paper they're all bad. They're all like terrible people. But like it's a negative for Walter. It's like, okay, he did this, and like I don't like him. And then with Weeds, it's like, yeah, I mean all these women are bad too, but I kind of like them despite that. Like it is a little hypocritical, I'll admit it. But yeah, no, Walter, it's like he was in that situation where he couldn't really do much about it. But it's like there was that janitor who would always like help him out. Like he would be throwing up, and the janitor would like help him out. Like, oh, you can go back to class, Mr. White. I'll clean up the bathroom for you. That type of thing. And basically, he lets the janitor take the fault because Hank finds like weed in his car, and he's looking for somebody who stole the chemistry set, and he suspects the janitor, and they find weed in his car, and like that's kind of it. And then Walter, could have stood up for him, but he was also kind of under suspicion, so he just kind of lets, like the one guy who showed him kindness at that school, he kind of lets him get fired, and his life is ruined, his reputation's ruined. But whatever. It's just like, yeah. So like that's what that was like strike one for me with Walter. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know how other people felt about that. I felt really bad about that. I definitely do. I prefer Jesse. If we're like comparing the two of them, I prefer Jesse, even though Jesse's like literally supposed to be kind of like a scumbag. Just like he's again, like the writers. I don't think the writers intended for him to stick around or be like a popular, likable guy. Like he was kind of like written as like this douchey, like wannabe gangster guy who's probably gonna get shot. And like he kind of took off, and it gave him like kind of an annoying catchphrase and personality. But no, he took off. He kind of blew up, so they're like, oh, never mind. Well, stick around. Call people a bitch some more for like 5 more seasons. Anyway, but so let's talk about some similarities with the shows. I've already pointed out like both shows. They're about these suburban characters living in the suburbs. They're dealing with a recent tragedy, and they suddenly need to come up with some money, and they're turning to selling drugs in the suburbs to make money. Okay. And then another similarity is that in Walter's case, he's a father who is dying of cancer. In Nancy's case, her husband is already dead. So we have like, either dying or a dead father. The need to make money. The need to make money via selling some sort of illegal drug. Amoral characters. What else do we have? I haven't gotten to it yet, but like I know Walter and Jesse, like they have like the RV, and that's how they like cook the meth out in the desert or whatever. I someone told me that Nancy gets an RV later. I haven't I'm just bringing that because it's interesting. I don't know like when that happens or if that really does happen, but that's if that does happen, that's another interesting similarity, don't you think? But what really what really did it for me, like again, it's fine to have some similarities, and again, it's like Weeds came out 3 years earlier, so even in the case where they're similar, you have to kind of lean towards the one that came first, right? But anyway, or give credit to, I mean. But what really did it for me was like, okay, you know, they're both selling drugs, you know, whatever, suburban setting, but at least Walter has cancer, you know, at least like there's like that kind of that angle. Oh, and they both have like the kind of special needs child. But no, what if I told you that one of the main, not Nancy, but one of the main characters, Nancy's best friend Celia, actually has cancer as well in season 1. Yep. So that's where it kind of got a bridge too far for me. Where I'm like, okay, we're really like filling, like a Venn diagram. Like there's like that center oval, like all this, you know, we're really filling up that center oval, aren't we, guys? Like, yeah, that's a little too much. That's a little too, like the fact that, you know, both also deal with like a main character having cancer and needing money for treatment. You know, it's like, okay, you know. But no, I told you, like Nancy, I liked her from the beginning. Celia, the best friend that she doesn't like. Celia took me some time. I didn't like her at first. Like to me, she was kind of like the Skylar of the show, or the Marie of the show, if you will. But no, by the end of the season, like I only needed a couple of episodes, but I really did start to like Celia, especially when you have like that certain revelation about her. It really puts things into perspective because, and again, I'm sorry, I do like Weeds better, but no, this is an example of such great writing where Celia. How do I even put this? She has this scene. So long story short, her husband is cheating on her with the Asian tennis instructor, and it's like this really weird scene where she confronts the girl who's, you know, cheating with her husband, and then she like kind of takes her out for drinks because she's just like, well, I'm pissed and I want to get drunk, and I don't have anyone to like drink with. You want to get drunk? and the girl she's like kind of terrified of her. She's like, and she also like, I don't know, like I guess wants to make it because she feels bad for like what she did, so she's like wants to make it up to her. So she's like, oh, okay, this is weird, but okay. So they get drunk to, like they have drinks, and they're like, it's a great scene. It's like really awkward, but it's also funny because like he starts yelling at the girl, and the girl's like, maybe like, should I leave? And she's like, oh, sit the hell down. You know, I'm just an angry drunk. I'm not like really, you know, super mad at you. Like it's fine. Sit down. You know, hang out with me. Hang out with me. Even though I hate you, hang out with me. I hate everybody. but like that's like kind of a common. It's sad, but like it's like kind of a common thing in the show Weeds, like this common element of like with Celia especially, she admits, like she's like, yeah, like she even says like it's so fucked up, but like I'm getting a drink with you because like I don't have anyone else to hang out with, like I don't have any friends. like I can only hang out with like the woman who you know stole my husband from me. It's like because Nancy's quote unquote her best friend, but like Nancy kind of doesn't like her. Like I think she even confronts her about that in a later episode. She's like, do you like me though? Like are we actually friends though? I know we're friends, but do you like me? She's just it's so awkward. And then like a random side character even like it keeps coming back up. Like the show is so good. It's so well written. But even a side character like says that because like she's like talking to the brother-in-law, and she says something like, oh, you know, blah blah blah, my friend, and she's like, oh, I don't know why I said that. Like she's not my friend. She's just my neighbor. I don't really have friends in this town, in this community. Like nobody's actually friends with any. They're just neighbors that talk to each other. You know what I mean? But anyway, everyone's like super lonely. Oh my goodness. But what else? But yeah, like so another weird. Like, this is why I'm glad I'm doing this overlap. But anyway, yeah. So she's like talking to the scene where they're at the bar and she's talking to the girl. She basically says like, oh, you know. She basically says like, I don't like I like not dealing with things. Like I like kind of like drinking and forgetting and like not dealing with things. And you think she's talking about the affair. Like it would be fair for you to assume that she's not. She's been talking about the fact that she has freaking cancer this whole time. You know, because she knew about it. She knew about the whole season. But she's always kind of evasive, and she likes to drink and, you know, forget her problems, and like, oh, that's what she's avoiding. You know, and it's like it adds that whole new meaning to that scene. But anyway, it's really cool. But yeah, another cool overlap is, would you believe? This is why I'm glad I'm doing this, like episode by episode. So episode 4, Breaking Bad, is when Walter reveals to his family at the barbecue that he has lung cancer. Would you believe that in episode 4 of Weeds, that is when Celia reveals to her family that she has breast cancer? Yep. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy, isn't it? I want to make another quick point. So it's like, okay, because I have to talk about this, and like, there's a point to be made here. But like, in the grand scheme of things, right? So Walter and Nancy are both doing kind of a similar thing. They both have kind of similar motivations. But there is a difference. They deal different drugs. Okay, Nancy, she sells weed. I know it's illegal, but at the end of the day, I think at the end of the day, that's why I prefer Nancy, or like the main reason is like she's really not doing anything that bad. Like her crime really isn't that bad. Like they even have scenes in the season where like her brother gets pulled over with like a tiny amount of weed, and like the cop lets him go because it's like, yeah, whatever, like slap on the wrist. You know what I mean? It's like not that big of a deal. People smoke. She sells weed. People smoke weed. They get high. They get baked. Like, what? Seriously, what's like the worst? Like, I've looked this up. Like, what's like the worst side effect of weed? It's like you get like headaches. Like the same way you like get headaches if you don't have caffeine after having caffeine all the time. You know what I mean? Like you have like withdrawal headaches. Like that's it. So Walter sells crystal meth. Walter sells crystal meth that will kill people. Walter sells crystal meth. It makes you paranoid. It makes your teeth fall out. It frickin' messes with your brain. It's a really, really, really bad drug, and he sells it to people. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, but his crime is so much worse. and so but it's also the drug that makes more money. And again, Walter's greedy. Like he just wants to make money. So but again, I have to side with Nancy on this. And the other thing is that I kind of sympathize with Nancy more because I think Weeds does a much better job of showing. You really need to show that this character has his or her back up against the wall. Like there's no choice. There's no like real choice in the matter. Like she, like with Walter, it's like she doesn't have any options. Like she hasn't worked her whole life. Her husband suddenly died, left her with nothing. She has to pay bills, and then Weeds does a great job. Her brother-in-law comes to live with them, but he's like an asshole. Like he doesn't really like have a job, or he's always coming up with these dumb schemes. But like he doesn't he doesn't contribute. You know what I mean? Like a real quick another similarity I forgot about. So, like I said, Hank, Walter's brother-in-law, is a DEA agent. So that's interesting, right? Would you believe, not a brother-in-law. I mean, Nancy also has an asshole brother-in-law named Andy, but no, he's not a DEA agent. But in the last episode of season 1, Nancy gets a new boyfriend named Peter, hooks up with him, puts on his jacket like in the morning, realizes it's a DEA agent. Oh my God, she's dating a DEA agent. Where will this go? I'm so excited for season 2 now, So like another weird little overlap there. Anyway, but with Nancy, like they did such a good job of showing like she has no other options. Like, I mean, again, I gave the show some shit like fire your groundskeeper. She has like a live-in like whatever housekeeper, like fire your housekeeper, move to a smaller house. There are things, but anyway, there are things you can do. But anyway, but they showed that like she really is struggling to make ends meet. She can't pay her bills. The power in her house keeps going off. They really show that like, she can't pay her bill. Like the power is getting shut off. And it's actually really tragic because like her son Silas was waiting to get this phone call from his girlfriend, and this is like 2005, so it's like not everyone has like a cell phone. She can't just like text him. He's like waiting with like the landline. She's gonna like call him on the landline before she like goes to Mexico or whatever, and he doesn't get the call because their power's off for a day. So he misses her phone call, and like that's it. Like back then, like that's it. Like there's nothing you can it sucks. It's tragic. But they have scenes like that. With Walter's family, like they always seem kind of like okay. Like, again, I needed like that one scene of the power going out. You know what I mean? Like Walter, like it seemed like he's like kind of getting by. I know like he's poor and like now he has all these cancer treatments he needs to pay for. Okay, this drove me up the wall. His friend Elliot offers him a job in a lab, a much better job, a much better paying job in a lab, a much more respectable job than teaching high school chemistry. Sorry, I'm sure Walter would have liked the job better, than just like teaching chemistry to kids who clearly don't give a shit. Like, yeah, he would have liked working in a lab with Elliot, but yeah, he turns it down. And then Elliot straight up just says, like, oh, I'll pay for the treatments. Like, I'll pay for your cancer treatments. I didn't know you were sick. And Walter's like offended. I get it. Like, there's like a pride element. I get it, but like, and he gets so mad at Skylar for like telling Elliot and asking for his help. But it's like, yeah, what was she supposed to do? Like, she has no options. Like, she saw like the one option. It was like, oh, maybe Walter's rich friend can help us out. Like, And so like Walter's like, no, no way, no, and like it's like, bro, swallow your pride. You have a baby on the way. You're so desperate to like provide for your family, but not if it comes from Elliot. Apparently, it's like, I don't know. I mean, I know they hint at a few things. Like, there's clearly some like history there. Like, maybe Walter was romantically involved with Elliot's current wife at some point in time. I get it, but at the same time, like, dude, you're willing to sell drugs. You're willing to sell meth that will kill people, but you won't take a handout from Elliot. You know what I mean? You see what I'm saying? Where it's like, again, I really think it would have been better for the show if they just didn't have that scene. If they just didn't have Elliot make that handout, because it's like, I really need to see that your back is against the wall and you have no other options, because like you're willing to do this terrible thing that will get people killed, okay? And that is still like a more attractive option to you than accepting a friend's financial help. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't like it. I don't like Walt because of that decision. I don't like it. I hope we go back to that. I hope like Elliot and his like wife come back and like we kind of go more into why Walter can't accept their help. But like right now I'm actually on Skylar's side, because I was like, what the hell are you doing? Like, we need money. Like, we can't pay for your treatment. Like, and that was like a big thing with him too, where he was like, well, I can't afford treatment, so I'm not gonna get treated. And it's just like, well, actually, you could have afforded the treatment, and like, what's the plan, man? Like, okay, I don't know. And like, that whole thing was also kind of like, because it's like, yeah, he makes this like impassioned speech about like, I when I die, I want to still be me. I want to still be in my bed in my house. I don't want to be like just barely holding on in a hospital, being prodded at by doctors. So and that was like his, big speech of like why he doesn't want treatment, or why he would prefer to like go without treatment. But it's like, bro, then he still agrees to the treatment. he gives that speech, but then the next day he like kisses Skylar. He's like, oh, no, I was just taking my time. Like, I am going to go through the treatment. It's just like, oh, okay. What the hell was that then? But anyway, but then he's like, oh, well, now I have all these expensive treatments, so I definitely have to sell drugs to like pay for the, and it's like, bro, but you didn't though. You had a handout, And like, seriously, if Walter was like a smart businessman, this is what you could do. This is what you could do. Because right now all of your drug money is going to your very expensive cancer treatments, right? So you're still not really squirreling away that much money for your family. So like, how about you do both? How about you accept the money from Elliot for your cancer treatments, and then you continue to deal meth, and you just squirrel away the meth money for Walter Jr.'s college fund, or what? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's like, right now he just keeps on kind of shooting himself in the foot, I feel. I don't know. This video is going on way too long already, but I think I made some fair points. I think okay. No, real quick, I almost forgot. So this is another funny scene I liked, where there's a scene where Nancy's hanging out with her crew, so to speak, and her crew is like, they're rolling weed, but they're also like playing mahjong or something, and they're kind of talking. And like, it's a fun scene because Nancy's trying to like be hip too, and she's like trying to talk like them, but like she's learning, she's learning. She's like listening, and she's like, oh, what's a boat? Like, what does that mean? Or like, and then she like, because Haley says like, oh, he got like 3 switching bitches, and she's like, oh, like 3 switching bitches, like what is that, like 15? It's like, it's fun because like, yeah, it is kind of cringe. It is kind of cringe. She's like trying to talk, hip like them, but like she's learning, and she's trying to engage with her coworkers, if you will. Like, there was a point to it. I'm drawing a comparison with like her and what's his name, Jesse, where like when Jesse talks, it's just cringe. It's just cringe. Jesse's not like talking with other people that talk like that. He's talking to like Walt or Skylar, and he's just like, yo bitch, yo, what's up, 9091 represent, yo, what's up, it's just cringe. It's just bad. It's like, bro, just stop talking. I do have a bias against Jesse, because like I went to school with so many Jessies. So many suburban, like so many kids who talk like that. and they had the pants hanging down, and the beanies or the do-rags, and they were like, talking like a certain way, and I'm like, bro, you live in the suburbs, like stop. You live in the setting of weeds, like stop. You're not hip, you're not cool, like stop. That's what Jesse reminds. So like, I kind of do hate Jesse at times, because like he just reminds me of like that kid you went to school with who thought he was so gangsta, and he's like the whitest white kid you ever met. I don't know. Anyway, this is a movie. This is going on way too long. I'm keeping it under an hour at least, but yeah, I'm gonna shut it off now, chat. I finished season 1. Currently, I still think season 1 of Weeds is better than season 1 of Breaking Bad. When I finish season 2 of both, I will report back. I don't think I will report back sooner. That'll be kind of like my next benchmark. We'll see. Maybe my opinion will change, but that's how it stands at the moment. Weeds is still in the running. It's still number 1 in my mind. All right, see ya.